What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you clicking on the video. Hey, by the way, don't forget to hit that like button. It sure does help. It helps a lot. Leaving a comment helps too. And you know, I wish everybody that watch these videos, leave a comment. You know, let me know how you feel on this. You know, most of y'all don't leave enough comments. I don't know anything about the people that watch my videos for the most part. I got like one or two people that might leave some comments here and there. And, you know, I'd like to hear from everybody. You know, I'd like to know what you guys are thinking on some of this stuff. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, if you don't like me, you know, whatever, that's fine too. But apparently, folks, we have averted a disaster. Yes. Averted a disaster. We've avoided a government shutdown. Oh my goodness. Of course, that is some good news. You know, there's a lot of people that do depend on the government, which, you know, being dependent on the government, in my eyes, is putting yourself at a disadvantage. You should never be dependent on the government. You should never be dependent on anybody, in my view. You should always try to be independent and, you know, get stuff done on your own, because a lot of times when the chips are down, you know, sometimes nobody's going to come to help you out. Nobody's going to come and save you. You got to save yourself sometimes. It is nice to have help. It is nice to have some government assistance, but like I said, it's really good idea to be self-sufficient, if you know what I mean. Let's get into the story. House passes 45-day continuing resolution, sending bill to Senate hours before the shutdown. Here we go. In a last-ditch effort to keep the government funded, the House passed a clean continuing resolution to keep the government funded at current spending levels for 45 days, advancing the legislation less than 10 hours before the government is set to shut down. Which, this was what I've been railing about. These continuing resolutions, they're just putting a hole in the hole to stop it from leaking. You know, you can't keep doing that forever, you guys. But good thing is, it's only a 45-day continuing resolution, allowing the House to actually go through some of these bills, all these appropriations bills, look at them, get them worked out however they want them, get the fat cut, get them worked how we need to have them worked. We don't need all these deficits that we've been having. Let's balance the budget, guys. I mean, how hard is that? Everyday Americans do this all the time. Everyday Americans cannot spend more money than what they have, so why should the government be able to spend more money than what they have? I mean, you call it credit, but you're playing with stuff that you really shouldn't be playing with. And when you're constantly going over budget year after year after year, you know, eventually that's going to bite you in the butt, and you can't keep doing that. Let's keep rolling. Lawmakers voted 335 to 91 on the continuing resolution, surpassing the two-thirds majority threshold needed to advance the legislation on suspension and send it to the Senate for consideration. Should it pass the upper chamber, it would fall to President Joe Biden to make the final decision and sign it. Which we're all going to see how that goes. He probably will sign it, to be honest, in my honest opinion. However, but we'll get into that. However, more than 90 Republicans voted against the continuing resolution, while nearly all Democrats voted to advance it, giving it enough support to pass. Only one Democrat voted against the measure, Representative Mike Quigley of Illinois. The continuing resolution included all of President Biden's $16 billion supplemental requests for disaster relief and funded the government for 45 days at fiscal year 2023 levels. House Republican leaders unveiled the plan, which the Washington Examiner previously reported on, during a closed-door conference meeting on Saturday morning, offering up a 45-day stopgap measure that would maintain current government spending levels and include disaster funding without any Ukraine aid. Now, this is one reason I think President Biden may not sign this. But President Biden, let me ask you one thing. Do you want to be responsible for a government shutdown? Is Ukraine really that important to you? I personally don't believe it is. I don't believe we should be funding a foreign war. You know, and it's real funny how Democrats traditionally have been anti-war. But for some reason, when it comes to Ukraine, every single one of them seems to be warmongering bastard. You know, it's like they're all like, yeah, go Ukraine. They're all putting Ukraine flags on their, you know, Twitter profiles and their Instagram profiles. And everybody's, yeah, fight for Ukraine, stand with Ukraine, which is one of the most corrupt governments in Europe. I don't know what's going on with that. These people are insane for some reason. I think, you know, it's because the mainstream media propaganda narrative machine has been telling them that, yes, Ukraine good, Russia bad. Which, you know, in my eyes, this has been a major flaw for Russia. They claim to be fighting Nazis, denazifying Ukraine. They're taking land. We all know that's what they're doing. Sure, they may be trying to get rid of some Nazis that are in Ukraine, which they definitely are in Ukraine. Don't let the news media machine tell you that they're not, because they are. All you have to do is look it up. Those are facts. I mean, we just had one Nazi that was from Ukraine get praised by the Canadian government, which that was a big blunder from Justin Trudeau and many of the Canadian government officials, if I must say. I didn't cover that, but that was an insane story. But taking the land like that, you know, getting rid of Nazis is one thing, but stealing land is another thing. Oh, I know. The United States government is very good at doing that. Trust me. I'm not saying that we haven't done it either. We have. I'm sitting on purchased land, just so happens. But the United States has stolen its fair share of land, which is not a good thing. But it is what it is. Let's keep going. Lawmakers offered the legislation to vote on suspension, meaning they needed at least 2/3 of the House to advance the bill in order for it to pass. Democrats signaled opposition to the 71-page resolution moments before the vote was held, arguing the legislation was dropped upon us at the 11th hour, according to the minority leader Hakeem Jeffries, which the Democrats are very good at doing that. So thank you for your hypocrisy, Hakeem Jeffries. Yes, you can bitch about it, but you do it too. Nancy Pelosi was great at doing this. These continuing resolutions, every time they drop one, they just drop 5,000-6,000 pages of appropriations bills and say, you have 72 hours to read all this and approve it and vote for it. It's like, come on, man. Y'all need to stop being hypocritical for political points. It makes you look stupid and is the reason a lot of people dislike career politicians. Let's keep going, though. Our members are of the view that nothing that Republicans have said this year is trustworthy. Nothing, he said. So the notion that we're supposed to go to the floor based on the Republicans' word that this is a clean continuing resolution when they've lied every single step of the way. However, moments before the vote began, Democrats came out in favor of the deal, helping to push it across the finish line. GOP leaders sought to push the vote on the floor as quickly as possible on Saturday to get ahead of the Senate Democrats' plans to advance their own bipartisan plan in the upper chamber, which is slated for a vote later that afternoon. That continuing resolution would fund the government at current fiscal levels and provide $6 billion in aid to Ukraine between the Defense Department and the State Department. There's also nearly $6 billion in disaster relief. Senate Republicans announced on Saturday afternoon they would no longer vote to advance the bipartisan CR, signaling the chamber will instead take up the House deal. Yeah. Which I'm glad, because I don't understand this Ukraine aid thing and how the how the Senate Republicans can all just be on board with this. I don't see how the Democrats can all be on board with this. I understand helping a country out, but we have given way too much money to Ukraine. It's not even funny. We're almost at $200 billion in assistance in some sort of way for Ukraine. And that's just mind-blowing to me when we have so many more issues at home. We got Joe Biden touting Bidenomics, and Bidenomics, in my opinion, is a failure. And if you look at the polls, we've got it ranging from 60% of Americans dislike where the economy is at, to upwards of 85% of Americans say that Bidenomics is a failure. So, touting Bidenomics is not really a good plan, but they're still doing it. Talking about, let's just let the term Bidenomics set in for people. What? What are you talking about, Biden? This Biden administration is out of touch. And, I know we're going from the House to the executive branch, just willy-nilly like that, but I've got to talk about Biden. I'm sorry. Biden is just doing a terrible job, in my opinion. But, getting back to the topic at hand, I really hope that, over these coming 45 days, our congressional representatives can, set aside any impeachment inquiry investigations and do these appropriations bills. Get them done. Clean this crap up. You guys promised us, as Americans, that you were going to fix the economy. You have the power of the purse. Do your damn job. Fix the economy. Please. I don't think I can get any disagreement from any American on that statement. If you do disagree with that statement, please let me know in the comments, because that would be a weird comment. And also, if you've made it this far in the video, let me know what you guys are thinking about this whole Trump situation, because I see them going after Trump in such a way that it's really off-putting, and it's making a lot of people blind to some of the facts that are out there, that Trump really did have some really bad business practices. I'm taking those air quotes back out. I shouldn't have put that in there. But he had some really bad business practices. But that doesn't take away from some of the BS that's going on right now. Like, trying to blame January 6th on Donald Trump, to me, is idiotic. And if, like I said, if you disagree with that, leave a comment down below, because, he said, let's be peaceful. He told these people after they breached the Capitol to go home. He obviously didn't want none of that. It makes no sense, looking back at it in hindsight, that somebody would want that. I mean, you guys tell me, do you really think that President Trump thought that a group of pissed off Americans, a bunch of bumbling idiots, breaking into the Capitol, stopping the electoral vote count, would actually leave him in charge and everything just be okay? Nobody say nothing about it. Yeah, okay. Ignore the vote. We'll leave Donald Trump in as president. Do you really think that he thought that? That's what I'd love to ask all these people at MSNBC. Do y'all really think that? Or are y'all just saying this to rile up Democrats and leftists to get them pissed off at Trump? Because I've seen a lot of propaganda coming from some of these left-wing pundits. I had to watch some videos of this impeachment stuff from some left-wing, and And it all was just propaganda bullshit. All of it was, they were basically saying that the impeachment inquiry was backfired on Republicans, and they started showing clips, and all it was Democrats railing on Trump, railing on some of the stuff that Jared Kushner did, with some of the deals they did, and saying, oh, look at this. Well, this is the same thing, and it was just like, you can't defend your own guy. You have to go and talk about Trump. Why not defend Joe Biden? It doesn't make any sense to me. And another thing that comes with that is if they were doing all these deals, the Democrats were in charge. Why didn't the Democrats investigate and impeach Trump for that instead of impeaching him on some dumb bullshit that didn't make any sense? Why not go after him for something that you think shouldn't be done? I don't understand that, but I could keep talking on this forever. I know I've gone way off subject, way off topic, and I'm sorry. I am. But let me know in the comments about all this stuff, guys. What are y'all thinking? What send me some facts out there to change my mind on some of this stuff. If my thought process is wrong, I'd like to know. I don't want to be thinking one thing when the truth is something else. But that's all I got for this one, y'all. Thanks for watching, and like I said, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And be positive. Peace.